Hello and welcome to the Quest on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Rakhee Bakshee. In this show, as you know, that every week we introduce you to a leading personality, a personality who shares his or her views and vision, and through them you hear their stories and also get inspired at times. So this is a fresh edition of the Quest that we're bringing to you, and the special guest with us on Rajya Sabha TV today is also a very interesting woman. She's a member of Parliament in Lok Sabha. Her name is Ms. Anupriya Patel. I welcome her to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's equally my pleasure.
Yeah. This is the first time you're here in the Parliament, but tell me how this journey has been for you.
Interesting, challenging, tough, all sorts of things I can talk about. Before this I was an MLA, and then of course coming to the Parliament is a much richer experience, but it's been almost going to be more than 5 years of my political career, and you would find it a little strange, but I have never been associated with politics before these 5 years. So it was a sudden entry after my father's demise, and before that I was completely untouched. I mean,
can you share that moment, because we know that you're an MBA from Lady Shri Ram College. Also you studied, you did your education. Somebody who was educated, pretty much maybe looking at a different career, maybe, as you're saying and telling us, what really was that moment that brought you into politics?
Actually, I am an alumnus of Lady Shri Ram College, and I did my MBA. I had just got married, and it was the 20th day after my wedding that my father passed away in a car crash. So, my party people, they just suddenly took me up, and they said, hearing one of my speeches at the condolence meet after his death, they said that why don't you, take charge of the party. And I had not even in my dream thought of taking care of his party or entering into politics, because this was never my cup of tea. But that was such an emotional moment that, as a daughter, we daughters always feel too much for our fathers. So that time, it was all a very emotional decision. They offered me, they said that, it's your father's dream and it's not fulfilled, and you're the one who can take it forward. And I was like, too overwhelmed with emotions. I was missing, and it was right, just straight after his death. So I decided,
so that was your entry into politics.
Yeah, that was my entry.
But after that, what's happened is also very interesting, because we sometimes talked about is that,
after that was an era of confusion, because I had taken up something which I knew nothing about. I didn't know what politics means. I didn't know what running a political party means. What is a political party? What does it do? I was completely untouched.
And we must tell them that that party is Apna Dal.
Yeah, the party's name is Apna Dal, and I remember that we had the first meeting, and everybody expected me to talk like a seasoned politician. And I did not know what to talk. I was like, I don't know what this party is all about. I've just come here because, Papa left it in between. And I feel for him. I feel that, he wanted to achieve certain objectives, and those dreams have not been fulfilled. And as a daughter, it's my responsibility. But I didn't know what to talk. So,
I would like to cross-question you here a little bit. That's why sometimes people say that it's very easy for daughters and sons, if they have a political background, to get into politics. But let's talk about this whole journey and effort also that kind of goes into it.
I tell you, it's both ways. Definitely, it gives you a platform. You don't have to struggle from here. You have a platform. You straight come here. But the problem is, when you come here, there are too many expectations from you which would not be with you when you are here. When you start your journey from here, nobody expects anything. When you start your journey from here, everybody has that sets of expectations, and the higher the platform, the higher the expectations. So for me, it was like somebody who has never been associated with politics, who had no business with politics, and suddenly you're put on this platform, and now people expect the same kind of performance from me. And my problem is...
And you actually did it, because Apna Dal made an alliance with BJP, and that's how... talk about that experience, actually.
I tell you, I think God's been very kind to me. And as a child, I always used to write behind my diaries and my notebooks that I'm God's favorite and He loves me the most. And I think really it meant a lot to me, because
in the elections,
He didn't allow me to fail when it was 2012 and the party had to face the first election. So that was like, you know, a nightmare for me, because I was like, I don't know what an election means. And I was going to contest the first election of my life, and not just me, it was my party contesting on a number of seats. And then, you know, I had never experienced anything, and I was like, if I fail, my party is going to go down the drain, because Papa is no more, his towering personality is no more there, and everybody is like, you know, right now they are clinging on to me because they're expecting a magic, and I really don't know if that magic is going to happen.
That pushed you actually to do things.
Yes. So I just, like, you know, like a crazy woman, I went around that entire Purvanchal area and, you know, campaigning for my candidates. And apart from that, I was also campaigning for myself and my party unit, and of course family. Everybody came together, and I think the magic just happened. I won the election 2012, when there was a you know, a massive this thing for the Samajwadi Party.
Yeah.
I mean, they came up with
What do you think honestly worked
something.
for you? Do you think you were a young woman, people found a fresh face? I mean, what really do you think really worked? Or they were looking for some kind of change which you represented?
A lot of things, a lot of things. In Varanasi and Purvanchal area, you know, there's like a set kind of politicians who are to be seen. And these areas are also the kind of places where people with criminal backgrounds are also very active. I was like a fresh entry into a place like Varanasi, which is supposed to be the political center for the entire Purvanchal.
And now, of course, much in the news for all the right reasons.
And that time, you know, the kind of things which were coming to me, the feedback which I was receiving, people were liking me a lot on a, you know, on the basis of my educational credentials. They felt that for a first time in Varanasi, somebody who hails from a place like Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University, has come to contest from this place. And you know, she's a woman, so she'll be more honest, she wouldn't do any gundagardi. And then they had seen 2
So
years.
when we say that education actually plays a role even in politics today, you would agree?
Yes, it does play a role. It does play a role, because it puts you you know, apart from the rest of the crowd. It definitely gives you an edge. And apart from that, from 2010 to 2012, people had kind of you know, seen my presence. I had made my presence felt, because I have just been moving around in different districts in and around Varanasi. Yes. So they were seeing me in newspapers, and they knew that I was active.
Okay. So after this good victory, which really, I think, put you somewhere on a platform, came Lok Sabha elections. And there, I think, I remember having read a lot of news about you, Apna Dal, and how you came along with BJP. How was that experience?
That was a beautiful experience. I got impressed because my party follows Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. And there I see Modi ji, who suddenly talks about Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So that was an instant emotional connect. And another thing, our party has always been working on the social justice ideology. It has been talking about the rights of the OBCs, the SCs, STs, the downtrodden section. And I heard Modi ji, you know, talking about the same thing, that I am an OBC, and this is for the first time in the history of the Bharatiya Janata Party that an OBC face has been, you know, projected to the country as the prime ministerial candidate. And I'm assuring the nation that the 10 years now are going to be dedicated for the cause of the SC, ST and the OBCs. So those were the two factors which, you know, kind of gave me a feel that if I go ahead with the BJP right now, I think it will be good.
But it had its own struggle. I mean,
it had its own struggle. I had to go through a series of you know, meetings and communications, and it just worked out. And I was glad to be with Modi ji on his Rath during his nomination. And I was campaigning for BJP candidates in a lot of other seats as well. I was also taking care of the rural assembly constituencies of Varanasi, because I was an MLA from one of the constituency, Rohania. And along with that, I was also, you know, managing my own election from Mirzapur, and Mirzapur was like a nave place for me. So in 1 month's 10 days time, this was quite challenging, but I guess I enjoyed the journey. It was very tiring. Every day in the morning, I would, you know, just wish God, I hope, this election gets over. It's too taxing on
But
me.
what a beautiful end it was.
Yes, and when I won, I tell you, when I used to go around campaigning, people would say everywhere, 1 lakh se jeetogi, jao aap aage jao, yahan samay barbaad mat karo. But the moment my counting began, and that very minute when it exceeded 1 lakh, I was getting excited, and when it was 2 lakh 20,000, my happiness had no limits. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe.
What
So
a
it was
beautiful
great,
result actually, and Parliament accepted you. How were the days like initially when you came to the Parliament? In fact, you've been quite vocal. We've seen some of your speeches. You in fact made one of that pitch where now one of the roads in Delhi has been named as APJ Abdul Kalam Road instead of Aurangzeb Road. You did talk about that. Talk about some of those experiences in Parliament.
Actually, when I entered the Parliament, I was kind of very scared, extremely nervous, because I thought, there are like, it's a pool of intellectuals, and from all parts of the country, full of senior members. I thought, I will never be able to speak up in this Parliament. It's really difficult. And I remember I made my maiden speech, and it was for 10 minutes or so. And that time, I was like literally trembling when I was speaking, but nobody of course could make it out. When you hear out, you can't make out, but I was really scared. And understanding the parliamentary procedures took time, because the problem with me is that I don't have a senior member from my own party to guide me or advise me. So for me, when I entered the UP Assembly, it was the same story. I was my own army. So there was nobody senior from my party to guide me.
Every day experience has taught you.
Every day. And then in the Parliament, the same thing. Nobody from my own party to guide me. So it was like Anupriya Patel alone now.
But I think that had its own advantage, because then you took a lot of time and we have seen much of you. But we'll talk about that after a very short break that we are taking here on The Quest. And you're watching this very interesting conversation with Miss Anupriya Patel here on Rajya Sabha TV. We will continue this conversation even after this very short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to the show. You're watching The Quest here on Rajya Sabha TV, and I'm right now talking to Miss Anupriya Patel. She's a Lok Sabha MP, and we are talking about how difficult maybe it is when people say whether there are still glass ceiling factors even within Parliament, whether women get more chance or not more chances to speak in Parliament or make their presence felt. Do you agree that there should be more occasions where she can be more vocal and present her views?
Look, to be very honest, I wouldn't say that the glass ceiling has really gone away. It's there, it's everywhere. Women have to be more vocal and more assertive, that is true. But another part of the story is, the other side also has to be more receptive and more accepting towards allowing women to speak up, giving them more time. It is easier to ask a woman to sit down when the time is up, but it is still more difficult in the Parliament to ask a man to sit down when the time is up. And you would see the difference when you see the Parliament proceedings and functioning. A woman, it's easier to make her sit down, but a man, he will continue. Time up, he'll continue. So still there is more assertiveness, and there is more acceptance which is needed, that yes, if a man can break the rules, even a woman can. There are very few women who are able to do this. I'm not saying that you must break the rules, but I'm definitely saying that we have to come at par when it comes to functioning in the institution of democracy.
And what happens to women's reservation bill, which really remains a dream after so many years? Every time we talk about it, I talk to everybody about this hope really fructifying finally into practice. But
look, women's reservation bill is something that I guess every woman in the country is dreaming for. And as a woman, even I want that at least not just 33% but 50% of the house should be full of women, because when women are there, there's more discipline, there's more participation, there's more dedication in the working, and that's in the character of a woman. That's nature's gift to us. However, it is being pending because, of course, there are two opinions. One side says just give 33%, the other side says you create a sub-quota. So definitely I belong to the section which says that you create a sub-quota for the SC, ST and OBC women. However, I feel it is time for the government to, just wake up to the cause and allow discussion on the bill and have it passed because it is extremely important that our women crowd in the parliament must increase. Even when I was a member of the Legislative Assembly, UP Assembly is the biggest and the largest with 402 members, and the number of women was barely 33 in my time in 2012. And here when I come to the parliament, as far as I know, I think there are only 61 members. So we are just a very minuscule section, and I think, you know, your number is your strength. When you have more women in the house, we will see a greater assertiveness also in women. They will be more vocal about their rights. So the group has the strength. You know, these 5 fingers, when they are together, they have more power. So I definitely want that the women's reservation bill must be considered.
And since you're part of the committee which is on the empowerment of women within parliament, what new things do you think are being discussed or looked at? I mean, how positively are we looking at women's issues?
Definitely, as far as the role of the committee is concerned, it's a very serious committee with very serious objectives, and it's doing a serious job, because we can call any department, any ministry, and review the you know, policies, the aspects of various policies which are related to women. We can monitor their progress, and we can really pull up the officers for delaying things which must be done. So it's a serious affair, and we are handling it with a lot of sincerity. And
acts are in place, legislations are made, but we know in reality we have a long way to go.
Yes, you know, this is the problem, that when it comes to implementation, lots of our problems you know, will find their space there. We create laws, but where we get stuck is the implementation. So implementation is where the hammering is required, and I guess the committee is doing a beautiful job in doing that hammering bit of it. And in times to come, I think it is going to further strengthen, and as we have more and more enlightened women in the house, I think it's going to grow much bigger.
Do you think things are changing? Do you think when this whole consciousness about this gender sensitivity, do you think it's changing a little now, where politicians also, and we've heard it in the past, and we do keep hearing in the present also, making sometimes insensitive comments, or maybe it shows that more understanding is needed. Do you think things are changing now, or we really have to have a very, very long journey to pass?
Definitely, Rakhee. You cannot deny that things are not changing. You know, remember the times when the country became independent. Now we have moved 68 years ahead. It's not that the scenario hasn't changed, but we still have a very long way to go. Our social fabric is such that India is a typically patriarchal society with those authoritarian mindsets wherein women are expected to be confined to certain roles, and it is very difficult to break those social barriers and come out and fight. The challenges are much more wider and complex.
And you represent Uttar Pradesh, well, talk about the scenario there.
I remember clearly, you know, I wouldn't quote one of my MP colleagues. We went on a committee tour, and he actually came up to me and he said that तुम शक्ल से तो सीधी लगती हो, but एक नंबर की गुंडागर्दी करने वाली होगी. मैंने बोला ऐसा, why are you talking like this? He's like, because UP is such a place where a simple woman like you cannot win election. I said, now look at the stereotypes. You know, this is the kind of image.
You're a member of parliament, but there
are too many problems. Problems from the bureaucrats, problems from the officers, problems from the crowd, problems from everywhere. As long as you're a woman in India, you can never be free of problems.
Look at it seriously, these statements.
Really, there are too many problems.
Talk about problems within, let's say, your party and family a little bit, where you again had to struggle even within that. Not many people know that you've struggled even within your own party, which has not been very kind right now to you, and even sometimes a family.
Definitely, I do have certain problems from my family, and you know, it comes as a shock to me, because I could never even imagine that you know, I'll have problems from my own family. But when I read about the history of a lot of politicians, I have seen that you know, the first challenge comes from within the system. And I guess God deliberately puts up these challenges because He's testing you, and you know, कहते हैं ना कि वो उसको आग में तपाते हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि मेरा तपने का जो प्रोसीजर है वो चल रहा है, and I am trying my best.
So within this government, what all are you learning? I mean, what is this, you know, there are challenges. The new government has completed more than 1 year now. We are talking about, you know, farmer suicides. We are talking about the economic growth, which might not be happening to the kind of expectation we have. All these challenges are still there. How do you think the government, and you being a part of it as a member of parliament is dealing with?
As an alliance partner, I would like to assure the viewers that the problems that you are talking about, the problems that we are discussing here, government is quite aware of these problems. It is very sensitive, and even before taking charge of the country, the government knew that these kind of problems are existing, they would crop up, and it is finding out the ways and means to address those problems, because these are not the problems which could be handled with a short term strategy. These problems have been in existence for a very, very long time. So when you want to treat a disease, an ailment which is like existing since long, it takes time because you have to uproot it. So I can only convince and assure, being an alliance partner, that my government is working towards uprooting those problems so that India becomes a better nation.
So you have Bihar elections coming up. How much hopes do you think the new NDA alliance has?
You know, honestly speaking, I have all hopes. I have all hopes, and I feel under the able leadership of Amit Shah ji and Modi ji, definitely we are going to have Bihar with the NDA. And we have Upendra Kushwaha ji, Ramvilas Paswan ji, and I would also be going there to support my alliance party, BJP. So we all NDA people are going to, make it happen, and we are all very excited about it. We are very optimistic, and we're very hopeful we are going to have Bihar.
And the next milestone would be Uttar Pradesh itself, which is not so far, and all eyes are going to be there. So what about that?
Yes, 2017 is really not far, and I'm working on behalf of my party. I'm taking care of the state, I'm continuously on move, and I think straight after Bihar elections, the NDA is going to start its groundwork in UP. And definitely, UP also needs a change, because it's been too much of the Bahujan Samaj Party and too much of the Samajwadi Party, who have just, kind of made use of the sentiments and emotions.
Revenge also happening. I mean, as you and I are talking, we know that the cases are going to be against.
Whenever the Samajwadi Party comes, it's all gundagardi. Whenever the Bahujan Samaj Party comes, it's all corruption. And the electorate in UP has seen these parties not just once, four times, three, four times. So they have had enough of it, and now actually the voter says it's over.
So do you really see a lot of hope for the BJP, a lot of effort and groundwork to be done still?
There's a lot of space and hope for the NDA, for the BJP, but before that you have to work a lot, because UP is a very, very complex state with you see UP is not very uniform. You have a region Bundelkhand, you have Purvanchal, you have Madhyanchal, you have Western UP, and the level of prosperity in all these four segments is extremely different. So people have different kinds of expectations. So understanding the nature and complexity of UP, of course, the NDA has had the experience, because in 2014 they clearly understood the nature of UP, but I feel for the assembly elections it is going to be another journey of hard work and lot of sweat and toil and everything, and I guess it will work. The magic is going to happen in UP. I'm very hopeful, and I'm going to be with the BJP, and I think we can make it happen together.
As a member of parliament, I would like to ask you, sometimes these questions emerge as to how responsible they are towards their constituents. I mean, once they come and get elected to the parliament, they get detached from the realities, and sometimes they, all these expenses that one talks about and the privileges that one enjoys, these things keep coming up about a member of parliament. So how do you think you as a member of parliament think that you could make a difference by connecting very well to your people, also creating more examples of becoming, a very responsible legislator? So is there any plan, and do you work like differently or something?
Look, as a legislator, I have tried my level best to be most accessible to my people. I go back to my constituency regularly. Apart from taking care of my party in different districts, I take care of my parliament and I take care of my constituency. I'm available to people. I do Janta Darbar in my constituency like regularly. People from all parts of Mirzapur, they come, they have different kinds of problems. I try to address those problems. There are issues related to the local government, the local administration, also issues related to the central government. As far as it's in my capacity, I try to take care of everything. Then there are issues relevant to the constituency which needs to be raised in the parliament. When I go in villages and hold these Jan Chaupals, I ask people, if you have any issue which you want me to raise in the parliament, they only give you those issues, and n number of issues which my people have only told me in Jan Chaupals, I have raised in the parliament. So this is the way, I keep working with them. And as a member of parliament, we have a lot of things to take care of. Apart from our constituency, we also have too many commitments here, because now we become the representative, a national level identity we get. So we have a lot of other commitments also, and that is also an important contribution that we are making for the growth of the nation. So I think it's a very fine balance that every legislator has to kind of make. And of course the senior ones have learned the art, but the new ones have to develop and learn this art, and it comes gradually with time, with a little more sensitivity and sincerity.
So is there any roadmap that you've charted for yourself in terms of doing certain things, at certain policies that you're specifically looking at, whether it's about women or citizens?
I have different things for my constituency, my state and nation. So I always divide into these three segments, that there are certain different issues which I am going to take up for the constituency. For example, how the constituency is going to be developed, what are the developmental works that I have to take up for my constituency, whether it is in respect of developing in terms of tourism or maybe industry. Then for my state, I have certain other issues. I know that there are certain issues which are important for my state, which must be raised in the parliament, so that those issues get the attention of the government. I do that. And then there are certain issues which are of national importance. I also try to raise those issues. For example, women related issues are very close to my heart. So I would participate in a debate on acid attacks also. I would also participate in a debate on the rights of women with respect to any other thing. So I try to make a comprehensive contribution which includes my nation, my state, as far as my
And I ask this question to every guest who comes on the shows finally, is what's your quest, Anupriya Patel?
I think I am just trying to search for myself, my own identity. Life is a learning experience till the time you have your breath. I am just hunting for who Anupriya is. That is all I am doing. We don't do anything for anybody else. Whatever we do because we want to achieve our fullest potential. Self is the core of core competencies, and I am trying to know that self. That is my journey.
Thank you so much. Here you are, a fine orator, and I'm sure you're going to be a very fine member of parliament, that you already are. Thank you so much for coming here on Rajya Sabha TV, spending your time with us and taking time in this show also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rakhee. It was lovely being here.
Yeah, thank you once again. And that was Anupriya Patel sharing her story. Hope you liked, and hope you also got inspired by some of the stories and struggle that she shared it all with you, and hope that you like this particular edition of The Quest on Rajya Sabha TV. Thank you once again for watching. Namaskar and bye-bye.